Welcome to Will and Mark's Healthy Sports Obsession. I'm Will Hubner here with Mark Mashashik. We are two doctors of physical therapy and we are here to answer your PT questions as well as give our take on current sporting events from a health perspective. As always, send your questions to willandmarkshso@gmail.com and we will answer them on the show. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode. I'm Will Hubner here with Mark Mashashik. Got a great episode today. We're going to be talking about posture and does it matter? We're going to go a little sandwich crazy and talk about quarterbacks. We're going to go over Tom Brady's extension, Nathan Patterson, and we're also going to go over the AFC South. So let's get right to it, Mark. We're talking about posture. So article came out recently talking about how extension is something that we should be trying to avoid. We're really going for neutral postures. Talk to us a little bit about kind of that old, all of our parents told us, sit up straight, stand up nice and tall. Is that something that we should be doing, or are we encouraging poor posture?
Right. So, your best posture is always your next posture. So I don't think there is any one optimal posture, but there's definitely more efficient and less efficient postures, but this all depends upon the activities you're doing. So the article is called Sit Up Straight, Time to Reevaluate. And there's a lot of talk that as, different healthcare practitioners, and this is going on in forums right now, saying, well, we don't have any evidence to support that, posture improves function or improves pain. I'd say that's because it's very difficult to study posture on a big level, being that the postures that individuals need to use are specific to those individuals, but they also are specific on the task. So, you think of forward head posture, sitting at a computer, as a bad posture all day. It is, because if you stay in that posture for a long period of time, you're going to shorten certain muscles, you're going to inhibit certain muscles, but it shouldn't be a posture that I would say you would never use. I think the idea is that are we putting bad ideas into our patients' heads saying, you need to be in this posture? I think that is a bad thing. I think for different postures, you do have to use, for different activities, you have to use different postures.
I think it's important to note, right? So there is such a good thing as a good posture, right? There's postures that are better than others, right? And I think it's important if you're going to train somebody who has neck pain or who has lower back pain, and you're working on the therapist thinks that posture is playing a role in their pain or their decreased function. You need to train that patient or that person to be able to obtain a good posture. They need to understand what a good posture is so that they can feel the differences, that they can see an improvement in either pain reduction or improvement in function. But I think if you stop there, you're going to be missing a big point, right? So if you say somebody has issues with sitting and you're training them, okay, here's how you want to sit. You're perfectly at your computer desk, and you want your elbows here, you want this supported, you want your neck in a good position. If you end it there, there's no way that somebody that's sitting at a desk is going to stay in that position for 8 hours. So you need to train people how to move out of positions, right? You need to train them.
And they should move out of positions.
Exactly.
The idea of the treatment is to make their body free enough so that they have many options for motion.
Correct.
That you can sit on your left butt cheek, you can sit on your right butt cheek, you can weight shift forward, you can weight shift back. If you're going to be passive for a long period of time, you want to be stacked, right? You want as least amount of shear forces going through the different blocks as we look at the head, the rib cage, the pelvis, and the legs. But we don't expect you to stay in that same posture. I feel like I have patients come in, they're like, my other doctor said, I've got to stand like this is the optimal posture. Well, how are you going to walk? How are you going to lay down like that? Different postures for different activities. We should be unloading the system. We shouldn't be overworking our type 2 phasic big muscles with posture. Those are people who are always, in extended postures and things like that. But we don't want to throw those out either. There's activities like when we talk about sports performance. There's activities where we have to change our postures in order to produce more forces and to get our center of gravity in positions of mechanical advantage and things like that. So it's a very important debate, but we're both agreed on, does posture matter?
Absolutely matters.
It's the most important thing. How could you say it doesn't matter? We look at our approach for how we treat in functional manual therapy, and if you're in a inefficient posture over a long period of time, you're going to create mechanical deficits forward head posture, you're going to get shortening at the suboccipitals, and then you're going to inhibit those muscles. So I like that the article got at the idea that we shouldn't be telling our patients that there is an optimal posture, and we shouldn't think there's an end-all, be-it-all. But I don't like that the debate is that we don't have research for it, so posture doesn't matter. Strongly disagree. I can take someone who has low back pain, change their posture right now, and they say their pain goes away. I know that it's very anecdotal, but it's going to be different for every person, so it's hard to research.
And think about, like you said, if you're in a forward head posture, if you start to round your shoulders, common postures we all get into, that's going to, whether you can say objectively that there's no proof that leads to pain, which I would argue with, it's going to reduce their function, and now they're going to have to overcompensate with different muscles
And that goes down our whole pain science narrative again. Of course, pain's an output, but these are all inputs that could lead to that output to occur. And I want to emphasize that when we think about the general bad postures, you have the mother come in and says, come on, Will, sit up straight. And we see the kid go into super extension. People need to understand that extremely extended posture can be stacking you in a way that's just as inefficient as a rounded posture. So I don't like to call a rounded posture a bad posture. I'd say it's one that usually is more inefficient because people bias towards flexion and gravity kind of brings them that way. But I think it's not like you should be teaching people to do the opposite. Yeah, you need to be able to do the opposite, but you should still be able to go into that flexion position as well. It's all about what we're hammering home is just finding options for motion and using those options. I don't think I would say there are not bad postures. I think all postures are good. Some are overused, and that makes them dysfunctional.
Yeah, I mean, the most overused postures you can think of in today's age of cell phones, laptops, computers, everything, tend to be head down, head forward, shoulders rounded. So, like you're saying, it's not necessarily a bad posture. You should be able to get into that posture, but you do need to reverse that in terms of, if your shoulders are forward for most of the day, well, your pecs are going to get tight. You need to lengthen. You need to go into some of that extension to reduce some of those tightness, those tight muscles. Yeah. But if we tie it into sports, which I think is where it gets kind of fun, is that think about a guy like Russell Westbrook, right? If you look at a guy like Russell Westbrook and you look at his highlight film, so when he's throwing down monster dunks, right? In midair, he goes into a lot of lumbar extension. He's arching his back. And he's doing that to generate force, right? Like that's going to give him more momentum to just throw it down in somebody's face.
Right. To go from extension to flexion, you're creating more distance that you can create force over. So you're able to create more force.
Yeah, and he dunks it maybe harder than anybody else in the game, and that's what makes him fun to watch. He needs to go into that extension.
Absolutely. And that goes back into the point of saying, like, there is no optimal. If we told Russell Westbrook, you know what, Russell, we know you like to dunk, but we really need you to maintain a neutral spine when you dunk. He's not going to be able to dunk like that. It's going to be he's going to probably overwork his shoulder when he's doing it, to be honest. So that's like an elongation and flexion pattern for PNF that he's using, and it's very effective for producing a lot of force. But that's what we were saying. You can't say extension's bad because it's good in this situation.
Correct.
But it could be bad if you're standing at your construction job and you're working on a jackhammer and you just hang out in extension all day and you're getting microtrauma into your spine. Could be bad.
Right. And you know what the difference between Russell Westbrook and probably the majority of us and people listening to this podcast right now, he has an incredible core. So I bet you if you were to test his core when he's in that little bit of extension, his core's turned on. He has that automatic core engagement that we like to talk about that's so critical.
Yeah, but I think if you were to go in and measure, if he were to get like tackled, I think he would still be at higher risk in the extension than he would be at neutral.
Oh, 100%.
Because we know Hodges' research, you can't stop shear force in that position.
Yeah, but I think there's still going to be a good amount of core activation. Not as good as if you had a stacked neutral posture. And again, we're talking non-weight bearing right now, which makes it a little bit more challenging. But I think you can have a solid core moving in and out of position. So if you're moving into extension, I think your core can still be engaged, still be strong, maybe not as ideal as if it was completely stacked up. But I think, for example, move into a different sport, right? Like offensive linemen, right? So they go into a ton of extension. They teach you to kind of go up under the pads and lift up,
right,
which forces them to arch their back,
into extension,
right? And, they're not going to be ideal. I mean, same thing you're saying. okay, offensive lineman, get into a stack position. There's no way you can do that. You need to go into that extension to kind of get some of that force.
Well, that's when we look at sports performance and health. So people listening to this, there's a lot of performance things that go right in line with what is healthiest for you, but not all of them do. The reason that they drop low and to get into extension is because they're literally trying to get their center of gravity further underneath the defender's center of gravity so that they can have leverage to move him. Again, I think if you get hit in that position, you're far more likely at risk.
But can you train them into extension? As a physical therapist, if I was treating an offensive lineman that was having back pain, one, you can't just initially start. If they're having back pain and their lower back's inhibited and muscles aren't working, you need to get them out of pain. You need to train them in a neutral position first, right?
Yep.
Then you need to train them, well, how can you move into that extension and still maintain as best you can that core, those core first strategies, get that core turned on. And from my thinking, I think you can train them into extension. Is it ideal? No. Do they have to do it? Yes. Let's train them as best we can into that. Like you said, there's no bad postures, but some are more ideal than others.
Right.
So let's try to train them as best we can into an extended position.
No, I think that's important too. Yeah, motor control into extension and stability in extension would be important for an athlete like that. Yeah, makes sense. I think another worry that we're seeing with football right now is I think the NFL's done an excellent job of trying to protect their athletes, and we're seeing it trickle down to lower sports with the heads up football program, where we're moving towards a program where like hitting another player in the head is basically going to be flagged every time. So the idea is to get the head up. It prevents you from having head-to-head collisions, and so you can rip and pull the defender down more. But my worry is with head up and we're creating full spinal extension coming into a collision, are we going to see and we have seen a spike in injuries lately. I wonder if there's a correlation between the spike in injuries and I know it's controversial because we're definitely preventing concussions, which is probably the most important. But are we seeing more injuries because people are colliding in very extended positions?
Right. And yeah, I don't think there's a good answer, right? It's like, what's the lesser of two evils that you're choosing between? And I think right now the trend is concussions, right? That's the big topic.
I mean, I'd want to protect my head, but I remember Gronk for a game actually saying like, because he had a bunch of knee injuries, and he had the bad one where he really hyperextended, and he's like, guys just want to hit me in the knees. It's the only way you can take me down. Can you please hit me in the head? So from the athlete's perspective, sometimes they're like, why'd you put the head rule in? They're going to rip up my knees, and that's my livelihood. Of course, 29 years old now, he's retired.
Yeah,
still out there protecting his body a little bit, but no, good topic.
Yeah, good topic. All right, so let's move on. So we're going to go a little bit do a sandwich segment.
Yeah.
So the idea here,
a little bit more fun here,
is we go with quarterbacks, right? Choose whoever you want, but you have to relate them to a sandwich. What would they be as a sandwich?
Yes.
So give us an example, Mark.
You want me to start us off at the top? You got your list there?
Yeah, just start us off.
Well, I'll go down the list and you jump in if you've got one of the ones I have. So I've got Mahomes as a Kansas City rib sandwich.
Okay, why is that?
Well, it's very filling. It does it all for you. And we've got the big tailgating community in Kansas City. You can't mention a Kansas City stud running back without mentioning their beautiful barbecue.
Okay.
Coming on next, Watson. Deshaun Watson, Houston. Yep. I've got him as an Italian sandwich. I think it's the best sandwich personally, and he's one of my most favorite players to watch.
Italian sandwich, you said?
Yeah, Italian.
Okay.
You got your capicola, your pepperoni, your mortadella.
Yeah.
Put up whatever veggies you want. I think that's Deshaun Watson for us.
He's Italian's a little bit bland for me. I don't know if I'd go.
Deshaun
Watson's not bland.
Yeah, but this isn't your regular Italian
Maybe
sandwich.
Throw in some hot peppers.
Yeah, roasted red peppers for sure. Marinated mushrooms if you want. You do it up however you want. It's what you like. But that's my favorite sandwich. I give that one to Deshaun.
You may have to have have him on a bread that's a little bit cracked though. Something that falls apart just a little bit.
A little crumbly bread.
With his knees, yeah.
Knees and lung injury last year. Hopefully they start to get that offensive line right and they can get him right. Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
Easy one for me. Grilled cheese.
Grilled cheese.
It's reliable. You got the cheese head. A grilled cheese head sandwich. That's what we'll go with.
Grilled cheese. Good majority of the time. Very rarely am I not in the mood for a grilled cheese.
Yes. Yeah. Like Aaron Rodgers. Okay, I see you got one next. Who do you got? What do you got for Andrew Luck?
Andrew Luck went a little bit off. I got him as a Chipotle burrito.
Why's that?
Chipotle burrito, in my opinion, one of the best burritos you can get. But it's got that foil on it, and if you lose a piece of that foil, the whole thing's falling apart.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so if you can play that magic game and somehow keep that burrito alive for the whole season, the whole foil wrap, it's going to be amazing, but it may fall apart in a second.
I went similar direction. I gave him the tuna salad because the tuna salad is great unless it's not fresh, and then it's the worst. And I'm worried. We'll talk a little bit more about Andrew Luck in the next segment.
You know what happens with the burrito when it falls apart? You got to eat it with a fork. Not a bad option. Not as good as the other one.
Sure,
Kobe Brissett. He's the fork.
He's the fork for Andrew Luck's burrito.
Still gets the job done. You're still going to eat.
Baker Mayfield. I got a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich.
Why is that?
Chick-fil-A chicken because it's fantastic, it's amazing, but it's still kind of new. It's coming around. Everyone's really excited about it. Everyone's really excited about Baker this year.
You're not going to like this, but I see your point a little bit there with the whole idea of fast food restaurants, right?
Yeah.
Like Chick-fil-A is clearly on another level of fast food restaurants.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're still getting fast food. I'm not as big of a Baker Mayfield fan as you are, so I'll say he's on the higher end of the middle tier.
Okay, that's fine. But I'm saying, let 10 years go by. Do we still love Chick-fil-A like we do now? I don't know. We haven't seen it yet. That's why I'm giving him that.
All right.
Matt Ryan, Solace, Turkey Club. Can't go wrong there.
I got him a club sandwich. Never fails.
We're right on point with that. What do we got for Carson for you?
So I went with a slow-cooked pulled pork sandwich.
Okay.
Just because it's good, but it falls apart so easily.
Yeah.
You know, the second you take a bite into it, falls apart, melts in your mouth.
I went the Philly route, the Philly cheesesteak for him.
I like that one too.
And I give him the knock because it's not the healthiest thing you could eat. And he hasn't been the healthy in his short career. We got Cam Newton. Anything?
I didn't get one for Cam.
I got Meatball. It's great. He's big. He rolls.
Yeah, I can see that.
He's like Dante Culpepper with the rolling. I like a Meatball. Cam Newton, you love him.
Yeah.
Everybody likes it. Russell Wilson. I've got, this is where I went, lobster roll.
You want lobster roll with Russell Wilson?
Yeah, you want the reason?
Sure.
It's fantastic, but it's the most expensive thing on the menu. He's the highest paid quarterback in the league, and I don't know if I'm looking at the menu if I'm going to take him at that price. But I do love him.
Yeah. I went lobster roll with Tom Brady.
Okay, Brady lobster roll.
Reasoning being, lobster I would consider the greatest seafood, right?
Yep.
But could make an argument with maybe a Alaskan crab leg or something else could be the greatest of all time, and that's where my Drew Brees comes into play.
So what do you got for Drew Brees then?
Drew Brees is the crab cake sandwich.
Oh my!
Because he's kind of flirting with Tom Brady, in my opinion,
Okay,
on
so
what's the greatest. But you're still going to go lobster roll, New England. Tom Brady put a side of clam chowder on it, and you got a lobster roll for
Wicked
Tom.
chowder.
Yeah.
Wicked chowder. I'll catch you up on some of mine that you hit the same. For Tom Brady, I've got a shawarma sandwich.
Shawarma, okay.
Yeah, so you got a little pita wrapped in 100% USDA grade goat. Greatest of all time. Shawarma sandwich, Tom Brady.
I would say Tom Brady may be the whitest person in the world, and you went with a shawarma sandwich.
Well, he's the GOAT. What can you say?
All right.
The GOAT's the GOAT. Drew Brees, I had po' boy. Just, New Orleans angle. And you had crab cake sandwich for who?
I had it for Drew Brees.
Drew Brees.
I had it for Lamar at one point, but I went away with that. I just wanted the Baltimore thing.
I went the crab cake leg sandwich for Jameis, just because of his nice history with crab cake legs.
I went Dak Prescott. I gave the po' boy.
Okay.
Because I think he's a po' boy's version of Russell Wilson.
I like it. I gave him the Thanksgiving Day turkey sandwich. You got a little turkey, a little gravy, a little stuffing, a little cranberry sauce. He plays on Thanksgiving every year, and you're in the mood for that sandwich every once in a while. We skipped on, for me, I had Jared Goff.
I got nothing for him.
Ham sandwich, okay? He's a ham sandwich on his own. You throw Sean McVay into the mix, he's a Monte Cristo.
What's in a Monte Cristo?
It's just a jazzed up ham sandwich. He took a ham sandwich. It's okay. It's kind of boring. You got a little mustard.
That's the number one pick.
Yeah, but I mean, he was terrible. Jeff Fisher made him a bad ham sandwich. Sean McVay has made him into a Monte Cristo, or a Cuban, if you will.
So you're saying the number one overall pick, you're relating that to ham?
He was terrible.
Number one pick out of Cal.
Yeah, and then he played for Jeff Fisher, and he wasn't good. It looked like it was not going to pan out at all.
All right.
You got Lamar?
Yeah, I got nothing on Lamar.
Lamar, I went ice cream sandwich.
Why is that?
Because it's runny, and it's just a different style than all the rest of the sandwiches here. He's a different style of quarterback.
Can we get to Andy Dalton, please?
Let me get Phillip Rivers as a Reuben. He's got that Thousand Island dressing tang.
PB&J for me. He's just solid. He's
okay.
Classic go-to.
Kirk Cousins?
I didn't do him.
Imitation lobster roll. He's the same price as Russell Wilson, but not nearly as much as the gamer.
Interesting. I like Kirk Cousins.
He doesn't seem to come through when they need him.
I think he'll be all right. I got faith in him.
Okay, Sam Darnold, I got a pastrami and rye from Katz Deli in New York. He's a New Yorker, and he's got all those fumbles and interception issues. It's the Katz Deli, it's packed meat piled high. It's slipping all over the place. You're fumbling.
Okay.
I'm on to Andy Dalton.
Okay, can we go bologna sandwich with mustard?
Fried or not?
Not fried.
Okay, bologna.
Does not deserve to be
So
fried.
he's your bad version of my Jared Goff then.
He is the worst possible sandwich you can be delivered, but still have to eat every once in a while. Like, if we're talking fantasy, there's always that one week where it's like, do I really want to pick up Andy Dalton? Like, he's just so bad. I don't have any other options. Is there some terrible, maybe even like a second, is Luke McCown? Can I get somebody
Something else, yeah.
to get in there?
Something besides
Sometimes
the bologna.
You just got to eat the bologna.
I went with a buffalo chicken sandwich because he's orange, and Cincinnati doesn't really want him there, and you don't really want a buffalo chicken sandwich.
Well, if you take out AJ Green, you can even call him a sandwich.
I gave Foles the PB&J because he gets the job done, but it's not exciting. Flacco, I gave him the obvious sloppy Joe. You're tired of seeing it a little bit, and John Elway can't evaluate sandwiches very well. Josh Rosen, I got the Fogwa sandwich.
What is that?
That's the duck liver. He's got a lot of ducks quacking when he throws. And then, you got anybody else?
Eli Manning.
Let's give our Eli's.
Egg salad.
Egg salad, okay.
It just stinks up the whole room. Stinks up all New York as soon as he throws the football.
Yeah, I went with a 37-year-old fish sandwich that's sitting there in the deli pre-prepared, so you know it's not fresh. And the tartar sauce is already turning a little yellow. And then a fly comes down and lands on it, and the fly gets off it because he's like, "What's this?" And you ask the guy, like, what kind of fish sandwich is that? And he says, it's just fish. It's just fish. It doesn't even know what type of fish it is.
Yeah.
In my sandwich research, I also looked up a Denmark fish sandwich called the Sol over Gudenheim. It's a herring fish with vinegar on a rye bread with a raw egg put on that. I thought that would be good for Eli this year.
Okay.
Side note, we don't think Eli's going to have a good year.
Yep, but I might make a wager that he'll have a better year than Andy Dalton.
I'll take that wager.
Yeah. Not sold on it. But
Okay.
either way, you don't want him. All right, so let's move on.
A little bit of...
Yeah, can we talk Antonio Brown a little bit? A lot of talks about something going on with his foot. Is it serious? Is it not? Doesn't sound like anybody really. It's hard to see what's actually happening. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, they showed his feet. They're all corned up. He's either got a lot of corns or he's got hyperkeratosis, which is just overgrowth of that corn type of your foot. I think he'll be fine.
Okay, so what does that mean for foot plant? Is just painful when he plants his foot. Is it leading to worse push off?
I think literally, if you look at the pictures of it, I don't think it's painful. I just really think it's like it gets in the way of his foot getting into his shoe. It's just this big overgrowth. So he'll probably have to manage it. I think they literally just come in, podiatry just shaves it down.
A little bit, yeah. All right,
No
so
biggie
not
there.
too worried.
Yep.
That's not going to change any value for him.
Zeke must report by tomorrow, August 6th, or he could. These rookie contracts can be kind of confusing, but he may lose his eligibility for a year of free agency. So I think we'll see Zeke come in tomorrow, and if we don't, we'll have to re-look and discuss because I'll be confused if he's not here.
Okay. So let's go through the AFC South.
Yep.
All right. So if we look at last year, 2018 standings, we had the Texans at 11-5, the Colts were 10-6, Titans 9-7, and the Jaguars were 5-11. Okay.
Yep.
Do you see that changing this year?
Yeah, I got it flipped. I think the Jags got their quarterback, so I've got them. And to be honest, I like all three of these teams, the Jags, the Texans, and the Colts. But when we go through the strengths of schedule, and the Jags just have a couple more cupcake games than the other two. So that's why I gave the edge to the Jags, and I put them at 11-5. Had the Texans and Colts at 10-6. The 10-6 on the Colts is big on just what's going on with Andrew Luck. I mean, when I was grading it out, I was just like kind of grading that we're maybe going to miss him for a couple games at some point. But Andrew Luck's really scary right now. I had Titans at 5-11.
Okay. So I had the Texans winning it all at 11-5, and then I had the Jaguars at 10-6 and the Colts at 9-7. Absolutely right. Texans have a much harder schedule than the Jaguars and the Colts. I think their first 7 games are against very, very tough opponents.
Straight up, if Andrew Luck's healthy, I think the Colts is the best team here.
I disagree. I like the Texans a lot. They did just cut. Looks like they're having a little bit of running back. Wouldn't say insecurities, but they just lost Foreman.
Okay. With Foreman, let's talk fantasy then. Let's do fantasy Texans. I was shocked they cut Foreman. A lot of best ball leagues, I've been taking Lamar Miller and Foreman as 2 backups, expecting Foreman to come in. He's going to get picked up. We'll see where he goes. But my thing is he was cut because of differences in training philosophies. So he's doing something that Billy O.B. doesn't like, and maybe the Achilles isn't that healthy. I mean, if he's a stud and he looks good and they've got these running back problems, I can't really see them letting him go. But they did. So now I'm a lot less interested in him.
Are there any other running backs outside of Lamar Miller on that team? So they got Colin Gillespie, Tywan Jones, Josh Ferguson.
I'd say Ferguson's. I mean, I know he's listed as 4th on the depth chart we're looking here. I'd say Ferguson's probably going to move up to 2, but no, there's nothing. This is terrible. Yeah. Maybe they're working on a Melvin Gordon trade. I wouldn't be surprised if a different running back is in the backup role. I don't know who yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if some type of trade is worked out, whether it's for just a backup guy or if they are actually working on a deal for Melvin Gordon.
I think Deshaun Watson, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, if he can stay healthy, and I think he can. And then the receiving crew on this team is loaded.
Studied
Hopkins,
out.
Will Fuller, Kiki Kuti came on at the end of last year.
Kiki Kuti was great. He was hurt a lot last year.
Yep.
Do you know Will Fuller averages a touchdown a game with Deshaun Watson? When
healthy.
When they're playing together. If they're playing on the field together, they average a touchdown.
And Will Fuller's touchdowns usually aren't little short touchdowns. They're bombs.
Very excited for this receiving staff. DeAndre Hopkins.
If they can stay healthy, there's always, Kiki's hurt last year. Will Fuller's been hurt the last couple years. Hopkins generally pretty healthy. He has little, issues.
Yeah, it goes into just like how much can you play with injury? Hopkins just plays hurt. He doesn't care. You can't play with torn ACL on Fuller. Kiki's stuff was kind of a little nitpicky.
What's the latest with Clowney?
He's on full holdout. I don't have any more information on it.
Yeah. How does that change their defense? Still have a pretty great defense, though. They could definitely use it, but still got Watt, still got Whitney.
I mean, he's definitely their most explosive speed rusher. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, overall, I think they're the team to beat.
Okay. What about Colts?
Let's go to Colts. I had at 9-7.
I got them at 10-6. I think if Luck's healthy, 10-6 is their floor.
Right. Luck scares me the most. So let's talk about Andrew Luck.
What is going on? What's going on? 2 years ago, he missed his entire season for a shoulder surgery that was supposed to be healed. I think that was a labral repair. And now he's been out a month, 6 weeks with a calf strain?
And they had a setback today, is what they said.
Yeah.
We don't know exactly what that is, but he was removed from practice.
Well, Frank Reich came out and said he literally thought of Kevin Durant when he was holding out Luck earlier, and that made me think, oh, that's just the coach being crazy. But the fact that he's not in there now, does he have something inflammatory? Does he have a collagen issue in his body that these injuries, it seems like he takes much longer to heal than other people. And I know he's a known gamer that, will just by his personality, you can tell he'd play through things if he could. But I don't know, you think we're running into another KD thing? Is this an Achilles injury that they're hiding? We haven't seen any pictures of ice on the Achilles like we did with Durant.
Yeah, it's so hard to tell. I mean, preseason in my mind, if I'm an NFL coach, how much do I want Andrew Luck doing anything outside of just going through the motions, making sure his arm's loose, throwing some passes? But
I think that's what they tried to see today, and they said they had to shut him down.
But, again, if you're being cautious, I mean, we're like a month out from the season starting. Andrew Luck tells me, I've got any type of pain, I'm sitting him out.
I'm very nervous. I think Jacoby Brissett is one of the better backups in the league. But from a fantasy value, if Luck isn't playing, I don't want anybody.
Really?
Yeah.
Even with Brissett, I mean, you wouldn't want T.Y. Hilton, you wouldn't want
I'd take
Paris
T.Y.,
Campbell.
but they would drop way down for me.
Sure, definitely.
I'd take T.Y. is a third-round pick right now. He would move to the fifth round if Luck wasn't there.
With Luck there, I mean, they have Marlon Mack had a good year last year. Even Hines had a decent year, too.
Yep. He said he wants over 1,000 all-purpose yards.
And it looks like Foreman was picked up by the Colts.
Oh, crap. How do we miss that one? Yeah, Foreman's been picked up by the Colts. We didn't get that memo.
Yeah, so that's
well, he's now giving Bill O'Brien's playbook to the Colts defensive coordinator, Eberflus. Yeah, so that's some of those inter division pickups are because of that.
Yeah. T.Y. Hilton, I think, is one of the best receivers in the game.
He's a gamer
very
too.
Underrated.
Played hurt a lot last year. Has touchdown limited upside. Right now he's a round 3 pick. Be careful if Luck is out. Campbell is a late round guy for me that I love. These Ohio State quarterbacks, they say time and time again, well, they didn't run routes at Ohio State. They can't play. They can't run routes. We come and we see Michael Thomas. He can run routes. Curtis Samuel stepped it up, started running routes. I think Paris Campbell fits the same mold. He's a speeder, and I think if Luck's healthy, and if he's healthy, he's got a hamstring right now. I think he'll be great.
Yeah, I think if Luck's healthy and T.Y. Hilton's healthy,
they finally got this offensive line right, and they've got him weapons. It's go time. This is like Super Bowl team. We need everyone to be healthy.
I think I'd rather have Paris Campbell over Devin Funchess. I think they all have a role there, but in terms of fantasy value, I'd go Paris Campbell. And then the tight end last year was Eric Ebron, had a monster year, but touchdown dependent.
Yep.
I thought Jack Doyle was going to have a good year last year, but I think he was hurt. And then when he did play, it was all Ebron.
Yeah, he had a hip fracture. Yeah, he missed the entire season.
And then another guy who I think
and he had a kidney injury too.
A guy I don't think Doyle has much fantasy value at all, but I think a guy who could be Mo Alley Cox.
Yeah, I don't think he has fantasy value right now, but I think he's fun to watch.
Big player, played basketball at VCU.
VCU guy.
I think he could be a touchdown guy.
Can we look up his? Does it have his height and size? Because it says it on there, but he might be the biggest person in the NFL. It says 6'6", 260. I'm pretty sure he's like 6'11", 355. That's what he looks like.
He's a beast.
He's huge, big hands. Marlon Mack, 3rd round pick, has value. And Luck, he had been going in the 5th round, and now he's just falling like crazy. I don't want to touch a quarterback that early if I don't know he's going to be healthy.
All right, good. So let's move on to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I had at 10-6. Would you have them 9-7?
11-5.
11-5. Okay. So let's go over them. So you already mentioned they got a quarterback. You like Nick Foles.
He's a peanut butter and jelly, so we don't really want that for fantasy. But I think it patches it together well enough for them to try to do what they want and run the football.
Which, I mean, if you've been a Leonard Fournette owner at all in the past 2 years, you are not excited to get the chance to take him again.
No, you're not.
He does not play very often.
So he's the who I can't remember who we were just talking about. We called him a gamer. He's the opposite of Frank Gore. So all the talent in the world, super fast, super powerful. I think if he's at 80%, he's just like, I'm out. He's like, I've got to be at 100% to go.
He sat out a couple games in college, if I remember correctly. The bowl games and.
Oh, he sat out with injuries in college. So he had a lot of foot and ankle problems in college. Last year was the hamstring, but these little naggy injuries, and he seems to sit out a long time for him. I just think guy like Frank Gore, he has the same injury, and he just goes out. He's like, I'll play at 75%. So when they say they want to run the ball, they've got some other backups in here that I think that they brought in. T.J. Yeldon's out. They brought in Alfred Blue from Houston. It's a guy they like.
Thomas Rawls from Seattle had some great games in Seattle.
Another guy who's been injured, and then we got the rookie Rockwell Armstead. They love. He's sort of he's like a poor man's Leonard Fournette. He can't catch the ball like Fournette can, but he's he's an in between the tackles guy. So I think the idea is let's still see what we got in Fournette here, but if he's starting to fall apart, we're going to patch together. We still want to run the football.
Who's the handcuff there? Who would you rather have if you're going to take a late flyer? You're going to go Alfred Blue, Thomas Rawls, or Rockwell Armstead?
Armstead, without question.
Really?
I think they like him. But I don't really want to because we have an open handcuff situation. There isn't a clear one. Basically, that means it will be an absolute flyer. It's like your last round. But let's watch Armstead in the preseason. If he plays well, I bet we'll see him move up.
You don't see any chance for Thomas Rawls to have a nice season there?
I mean, if there's other injuries, he's a talented player. Gets hurt a lot. As far as the receivers go, we've got D.D. Westbrook would be my favorite of the bunch. He's got a chance to really step up with just getting the catches. Keelan Cole had been cute and nice. Marquise Lee's knee injury was really bad, and they put him on PUP. DJ Shark.
Terrell
Pryor. It's been a little bit since we've seen Terrell Pryor. DJ Shark, a 2nd-round pick who didn't look great. Chris Connolly, I think, was recruited to come in by Nick Foles, is a guy Nick Foles likes, so maybe something there on a super, super talented player. But these are all flyers. DD you can take in the mid-rounds.
I think if there's any value to the Jacksonville Jaguars this year, it's their defense, right? Like, you can pick up that defense. They have a solid. They got Ngakou's.
Yes.
Made his statement or made his whatever. He reported to camp. Jalen Ramsey.
They put the Terp in the corner and the Terp flipped over.
They didn't flip over. He's
walked
slowly
forward
moving forward.
into camp.
Yeah, but he's still got his head out. He's not scared. He's still saying, "You better pay me up, or I'm going to bite."
Yeah, they added another good pass rusher. It's a fantastic defense. What you got to watch out for is what we said was
Tough schedule.
well, particularly early. I think they open against the Chiefs, and then they got the Texans week 2. So if you're in a league where your guys don't always know what they're doing, you might see them on the waiver wire week 3.
Right, that would be
and that
huge.
could be a huge pickup.
I think. Would you agree? Not getting too excited about anybody fantasy-wise on this Jacksonville Jaguars team.
I still believe in Fournette. I don't overdraft him. Like where he's going, he's 3rd round. Give him to me in the 4th, and I'll take the chance that he just, it's been a little fluky with the injuries. And I like Dede. I like Westbrook too. Again, I wouldn't take him probably at ADP, but if you can get him under, I still think he's a good value.
Right, you're not going to reach
for anybody
any of these guys.
Nobody on this team. No tight ends either.
All right, and then let's talk about the Titans. I had at 5-11. You had at 5-11 as well. All right,
yeah, we don't like this team.
We do not like this team.
We don't. I think
but why don't we like him?
Because I don't believe Mariota's the answer, and I don't think it's just the injuries. I just don't think he's developing the way that they thought he would. Actually,
so they got Ryan Tannehill.
I cut this one from my sandwich list. I put him as Vegemite because Hawaii is close to Australia than any other quarterback is, and Vegemite kind of stinks.
I like Marcus Mariota. I think he hasn't put it all together yet, but I think he is a solid quarterback.
Well, this is his 4th year. Like, it's time to put up or shut up. They're going to have to pay him.
They were 9-7 last year. They weren't a bad team. I think they were going into the last game of the season. They had a chance to make the playoffs, I believe.
Yeah, they weren't 9-7 because of Marcus Mariota though, and Ryan Tannehill coming in is someone who's a previous 1st-round pick too. They didn't just sign him; they traded for him. I think he's definitely there to push him.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the guy from last year, right, Derrick Henry.
Yep.
Like last, 3 or 4 games of the season, just went off. Terrible beginning of the year.
I blame Matt LaFleur for that. I don't think that's his fault at all. They just didn't give him the ball. I think Matt LaFleur's like, I'm a quarterback guru. I'm going to run this quarterback system. And then he figured out the last 3-4 games, oh, this guy's a beast. Let me keep giving him the rock.
Well, that's the issue with him, right? Like, he's not a guy, he's just going to keep pounding it. Like, remember Jerome Bettis, the bus?
Sure.
Maybe you don't have a great, maybe you only have 20 yards after the first quarter. Maybe only have 50 by halftime. You keep giving it to him.
He wears defenses down.
And that's not what's happened.
Who's the new offensive coordinator? You can just scroll up. It's at the top. Arthur Smith. Okay, I don't know a lot about Artie Smith. But yeah, he wears defenses down. He's in a boot right now. They didn't really disclose what it is, a foot-ankle injury.
Yeah.
They don't seem overly concerned. If he's out, Deion Lewis becomes interesting. And I think probably McNichols or Fluellen will play too.
Yeah. I mean, if we're projecting them both, 5-11, might not be if you can't run the ball.
And Henry doesn't catch a lot of balls on the backfield either.
So if you're down, he might not be the guy.
I haven't owned Henry in any of them. I like the player, but he's just going so early.
Good receiver they have, Corey Davis.
Similar story to Marcus Mariota a little bit. Can we start to see this already? This is your
definitely has potential.
Believe in the potential.
We haven't seen it all be put together. A.J. Brown.
I love A.J. Brown.
Guy out of Mississippi with DK Metcalf.
But I think this is the worst team A.J. Brown could go to. I'm not buying high on any of the receivers just because I'm not buying high on Mariota right now. Prove me wrong, Mariota. I want you to do it.
I don't think the Titans are as bad as we are making them out to be, but they're in a very tough division.
I like all other 3 teams.
Yeah. All right.
I was listening to another segment, and they said if you had to choose an NFL quarterback to date your own mother, everybody picked Mariota. Seems like a gentleman.
Seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, just like,
I feel like Jay Cutler would probably be last on most people's lists.
Last, Cutler, Roethlisberger.
Oh, Roethlisberger.
Yeah, Winston. Yeah, there's a lot of no's in the NFL.
Yeah.
I'd agree. Mariota does seem like a gentleman. Doesn't help you play the position of quarterback, though.
All right, so let's talk about Tom Brady while we're at it, right? Just gets a 2-year extension.
2-year extension. That's a good thing. He turned 42 last week. He turned 42, so the extension would extend him through age 44.
Yeah, seems brilliant on the Patriots' part. $24 million, I believe, this year?
Yeah, they basically gave him a raise this year because they have the room to do it, to get cap room. I could be wrong on this, but this is the way I'm interpreting it, to get cap room in the next couple of years so they can bring someone else in.
Yeah, somehow it increased cap space by $5.5 million, yet they paying him more this year.
Yeah, it's more this year, more cap overall. Maybe they slid some into the bonus. I'm all for it. Keep playing, Tom, until I say he's deserved it. You play him till he wants to quit or till he shows you he can't win.
Yeah. As a, not being a big Patriots fan, you got to think this is the year that Brady's going to have a rough time, right? Like, no Gronk. He's got a banged up Sony Michel. Like, his receivers aren't that great. Edelman's got, a broken thumb.
Yep.
So it's like, if ever there was a time to be like, yeah, there's no way you can do it. But being a non-Patriots fan, that's the last thing you want to tell Tom Brady. Like, I don't want him hearing me saying, like, you can't do this. You're not good enough.
Yeah, the big concern right now for the Patriots is Isaiah Wynn, the rookie last year who had the Achilles tear, is not in full practice yet. So if we don't have anyone in that left tackle, I think that would be big trouble for Tom. As far as the receivers go, I'm not that worried. You're going to see some of these guys step up. He finds guys to be good. Maurice Harris left here out of Washington. I think you're going to see something out of him. Edelman's a gamer. The thumb will be fine. You got the rookie in N'Keal Harry. Haven't seen much out of him yet. And I think their running back group is one of the deepest in the NFL. I think if you can get half a season of Sony Michel, that's fantastic. I love the rookie Damian Harris too.
Here's why I don't like the deal. I think at this stage in his life, Tom Brady does not need money, right? Like, if you were to go to him and say, hey, we really want you to play, we just can't give you $24 million, right? Like, you made $19 million, I think, last year. So can we do a contract extension, but maybe we pay you $12 million a year, right? Something low, but I think Tom Brady would be willing to do it. I think you're overpaying for somebody that doesn't. He's going to play because he loves the game, not because you're giving him a contract.
I don't know, but maybe it still could be a value or respect based thing. It could. We don't know.
Yeah,
it's still saving the team money. It still saves the team money. I don't know.
Next year, not this upcoming year.
But they haven't spent the money. There's nothing to spend it on. And we don't forget we could still see Josh Gordon return too.
Yeah, I don't know. Nothing against Tom there, but I think they could have got him for cheaper.
Let's
Nathan
go.
Patterson. So if you haven't heard about this story, just a regular fan it was a minor league pitching contest, radar gun, throws at 96.
It was like a fan fest thing, though. It wasn't like an actual competition. It was just like this fan fest, and he was in front of a radar gun. Nathan
throws at 96.
Not off a mound.
And Oakland Athletics give him a deal.
Yeah.
He also threw it at a Colorado Rockies game, 94. So it was not just a one-time fluke.
Gotcha.
And then I guess there's some sort of app. I forget what the app was called, but you can basically show off, like, the apps like Huddle and all those things where you can just send things to scouts. And they liked what he saw. They said he can throw a breaking ball. He's got a good changeup, and they signed him.
Yeah, remember the movie The Rookie, the Disney movie with Dennis Quaid?
Yeah.
And he went in and he threw like 97 or something, and I think he was like 37 years old, and the scout told him, if I go in and tell them that I'm offering a contract to a 37-year-old, they're going to laugh at me. If I go to them and tell them I didn't offer a contract to someone who threw 97, they're going to laugh at me. Signed him.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's fun. He hasn't played since high school. I don't know why. How do they not notice his talent to play in college at least?
Yeah, 23-year-old, played in high school, didn't play in college. I don't think you just wake up one day and you can throw 96.
Maybe he's on the juice.
Maybe he's on the juice. Not sure if he's been PED tested yet. But yeah, so send us in your questions. willandmarkshso@gmail.com.
Yep. Fantasy football season's coming up, so we love getting fantasy football questions. But like we said, any questions, anything in life, we're talking quarterback sandwiches and stuff now. We'll do questions on anything.
Exactly. So we're also on Facebook. Join our page if you haven't. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We have a YouTube channel. Find us. We're out there. Email us, willandmarkshso@gmail.com. And then we'll see you on the next show.
Beautiful. Over and out.